head to the key issues, adding that in order to reduce cost of drugs, government and pharmaceutical companies should invest more on research and development and support the sourcing of pharmaceutical raw materials from the unexploited and potential sources that are locally available. Recent reports have it that sensitive drugs that are not manufactured in Nigeria have gone out of reach of the sick, especially the old persons that battle chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, hepatitis, and other illnesses requiring daily intake of medicines. The situation brings to the fore the capacity and capability of pharmaceutical companies operating in Nigeria to manufacture sufficient quality drugs for local demand, as well as the question of giving special waivers on imported pharmaceutical products and raw materials, plus preferences to local manufacturers. Tonight, we have an obligation to reevaluate the pharmaceutical industry with a view to unearthing reasons and remedies for high cost of prescribed drugs in Nigeria. My name is Kieran Umeayo. Thank you for choosing to stay with us today on Weekend File. And first, we'll bring you the news as always. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says Nigeria and China will design a comprehensive bilateral arrangement that will see the creative industry of both countries partnering for a sustainable economic growth. The minister said this when he granted audience to a China-based film company in Abuja. Anthony Paulson was there for us.
Expressing delight with the visit of the Chinese delegates, the Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, said Nigeria has succeeded in creating the enabling environment that will be most favorable to investors. This is in the pioneer status granted to new investors who will enjoy a 3-year tax holiday, subject to review for another 1 or 2 years.
I'm particularly impressed that you say that in China today you have over 10,000 mobile cinema houses. I think this is one area we must concentrate on.
While Nigeria will use Nollywood to reach the growing demand for foreign films into China, cultural relations will be equally strengthened to enable the encouragement of movies that will tell the Nigerian story.
The great stories that have not been told in Nigeria. Nobody has told the stories of what happened between 1959 and 1966 in Nigeria. Those are the great epic political moments in Nigeria that shaped the history of this country.
Intimating the minister with the purpose of his visit, Wei Biam said he is in the country to carry out a study on the nation's film and movie culture in a bid to understand the areas in which they can contribute effectively and help develop the movie industry.
We've learned that Nigeria has lots of good ideas, original stories, IPs, that we can combine together to bring our production team to combine, to work, to cooperate, to partner up with Nigeria film.
He applauded the ingenuity of Nigerians, describing them as a bunch of raw talent needing exploitation. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And more from the creative industry. Once again, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed was special guest at an exhibition holding in Abuja, the nation's capital. The exhibition, put together by the daughter of President Muhammadu Buhari, is tagged Innovation of Hanan. Anthony Forson once again reports.
The Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, who interacted with the mother of the exhibitor and wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, said the photo exhibition is a game changer, given Hanan Buhari's uncommon passion for photography.
Our parents wanted us to be lawyers, doctors, engineers, or accountants. It was very unusual in those days to see a parent that will encourage his or her, son or daughter to take to the creative industry. But the truth of the matter is that this is where the future of the country is. This is where the future of the world is. So what we are witnessing today is an endorsement from the highest quarter that the creative industry is that area of our economy which we have not really paid enough attention to.
The minister said the present administration has demonstrated beyond doubt that it is committed to moving the creative industry from back to the front burner.
Which means today you can invest in photography, you can invest in studio production, you can invest in film, and you'll be entitled to a tax holiday.
On her part, Hanan Buhari said she was inspired by her passion to project Nigeria to the world.
I started getting inspired when I was studying media, and I saw the different works and different moments that people could capture with photography. I also wanted to take my part to also show people the other side of Nigeria that people don't see. When I take my work back to uni, they don't always see it. So my work is unique, it stands out, it has a different definition and it has a different style.
The opening of the exhibition was attended by top government functionaries and members of the diplomatic corps. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And the governorship primaries of the All Progressives Congress is currently taking place in Awka, the Anambra State capital, with delegates casting their votes for aspirants of their choice. 12 aspirants, including a woman, are vying for the standard bearer of the party in the forthcoming election slated for November 18. The chairman, APC Primary Election Committee, Governor Kashim Shettima, informed the aspirants that President Muhammadu Buhari does not have any anointed candidate. He expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the delegates at the election. 4,436 delegates are participating in the primaries, which commenced with accreditation in 3 centers in Awka, the state capital. The delegates also expressed satisfaction with the organization of the exercise, expressing hope that the election will be hitch-free. Now, the Buhari-Osinbajo group has charged Nigerians to support the programs and policies of the present administration to fast-track the process of national development and unity. Ladi Bala reports that the group made the charge during a solidarity rally organized in Yola to welcome President Muhammadu Buhari back to Nigeria.
The rally led by the national coordinator Buhari-Osinbajo again, Yahaya Hammanjulde, a campaign organization mobilizing support for a second term for President Muhammadu Buhari and Osinbajo come 2019, was supported by other party stalwarts and supporters. They took 2 major roads within the capital city in a motorcade, chanting, singing and dancing to victory songs as way of appreciating God for the healing and return of the president to the country. The national coordinator, Buhari-Osinbajo again, Yahaya Hammanjulde and other speakers who took turns to address the crowd of supporters applauded Vice President Yemi Osinbajo for his loyalty to the Nigerian project and steering the affairs of governance positively when the president was on medical vacation. They unanimously submit that supporting President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo for a second term come 2019 is the best way to go for the desired development of the country. They commended the efforts of the federal government on the fight against corruption, youth empowerment and diversification of the nation's economy and appealed to Nigerians to support the development drive. In Yola, Ladibala, NTA News.
A non-governmental organization, the Youth Alliance for Development of the Northeast, has called for proper funding of the Nigeria Police to complement its efforts, especially in the area of community policing. Ranke Kolaole reports. And that report may be coming, but for now, let's take a look at another report here on security. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Abayomi Olorishake, has charged the graduating officers of the Direct Short Service Course 26 year 2017 to channel their energy and ideas to ensuring that the nation is made proud by its armed forces. Ahmad Mohammed Usman reports from Nigerian Air Force Base in Kaduna.
Having undergone the 6-month compulsory military training any officer in the nation's armed forces must pass through. While integrating the newly officers in the Nigerian Air Force, the reviewing officer and the nation's defense chief said the event was no doubt a clear demonstration of the confidence reposed on them by the Nigerian people.
Service requires loyalty and discipline, among other virtues I have earlier mentioned. In this regard, you must at all times subordinate yourself to constituted civil authority.
And the whole idea is to build capacity. You can only be effective if you have the right capacity. And that is what we are targeting. So we believe that this will go a long way in making the Air Force more effective.
Cadets with outstanding performance were recognized. Out of the 106 cadets graduating, 9 of them are females. In Kaduna, Ahmad Mahmoud Usman, NTA News.
Nigerian youths have been advised to shun acts that could have adverse effect on their future. This came from wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Oshibajo, at the Teens Career Conference 2017, organized by the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the Everlasting Arm Parish in Abuja. Lydia Bassey reports.
Acknowledging the significance and potentials of the Nigerian youth, President Muhammadu Buhari's agenda is to provide opportunities to facilitate the emergence of a new generation of citizens committed to the sustenance of good governance and service to the people and the country. The future of Nigeria belongs to the youth, who are said to be leaders of tomorrow. With that inspiring song, wife of the Vice President Dolapo Oshibajo emphasized the important role of God Almighty, conduct and character for success in life's venture.
You are in one season now, but this season is just a building block for your later seasons.
Being able to think abstractly would mean that your parents can rely on you to have initiative about certain things that happen around you.
The youths were urged to imbibe values of diligence, hard work, and integrity.
The idea basically is just to inspire young people.
Life is a stage was the theme of the conference. In Abuja, Lydia Bassey, NTA News.
Thank you, Lydia. The National Hajj Commission, working with the State Pilgrims Board, has contracted catering service providers to run central kitchens in the holy cities of Medina and Mecca to provide food for Nigerian pilgrims. Ahmed Ambali, on an inspection visit with the Food Committee, reports that though services provided meet contractual agreement, there is the need to infuse more Nigerian dishes into the menu.
Shower caps, face mask, and a quick air shower grant us access into the Andalus catering facility in Medina. It is one of the 3 catering vendors handling the feeding of Nigerian pilgrims.
This is a laudable initiative by the National Hajj Commission to ensure that pilgrims not only eat, but they eat healthy.
The processing and packaging is done in a hygienic environment, but the team still looks out for expiry dates and other such details on food stored by the caterers. Questions are asked about how the meals address specific dietary needs of some pilgrims, as well as timeliness of delivery. When it comes to quality, quantity, and timely delivery of meals to Nigerian pilgrims, all of that seemed to have been addressed. But what will it take to get more of Nigerian recipes as well as Nigerian meals into the feeding mix?
Not one wants it, but it is how much you push the kitchen to give that and say, we will not take anything else.
The National Hajj Commission has the capacity to support these kitchens with diplomatic advantages.
From Medina in Saudi Arabia, Ahmed Ambali, NTA News.
Participants at the 30th edition of Consumer Town Hall meeting organized by the Nigerian Communications Commission in Numan, Adamawa State, have described the forum as a milestone towards enjoying better services by network providers. Yusuf Jika completes the story.
The Consumer Town Hall meeting, which is first of its kind in Adamawa State and 30th edition in the country, brought together telecom consumers, network operators and the regulator to discuss and provide solutions to consumer-related issues and ensure they have value for money through effective service delivery. Speaking on the event, Director Consumer Affairs Bureau, Nigeria Communication Commission, Abdullahi Maikano, represented by the Deputy Director, Ismail Adediba, believes that the consumer is the king when it comes of marketing, and therefore they must accord basic rights such as right to be heard, educated, redress, as well as right to safety. He said the forum seeks to educate telecom consumers and other stakeholders on contemporary issues generating interest in the industry, and also serves as a feedback mechanism for the Commission in making regulatory intervention for the benefit of the consumers, service providers, and the industry as a whole.
One of the fundamental rights of telecom consumers is the right to be informed and educated.
For the service providers, better service delivery to consumers is their watchword and reiterated commitment to work in accordance with NCC guidelines for the betterment of the industry. A cross-section of participants speak.
Here I've learned about the DOD, that's do not disturb platform.
Have a good time to ask more questions about how they are going to fix our own part of our networks.
The meeting has as its theme information and education as a catalyst for consumer protection. In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Nigerian leaders have been urged to commit themselves to the promotion of building strong institutions based on a just society, which Professor Abdul Rauf Mustafa lived for. His impactful works in community development, scholarship and democracy gained recognition as scholars honor the late professor at his first memorial lecture held in Abuja. Emmanuel Umeayo has details.
A professor of African politics at Oxford University in the United Kingdom, Abdul Rauf Mustafa hailed from Ilorin in Kwara State. Colleagues and friends of the professor say he believed life was the construction of a better society which should provide equal opportunities for all. No wonder the theme of the lecture, Nigeria, Democracy, Development and Foreign Policy, was selected to call on African leaders to address the challenges of democracy.
Let's keep his memory alive by applying our minds to solving the puzzles and problems of our time for the betterment of our people and humanity.
As a comrade, while at Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Professor Raufu was said to have influenced many lives positively.
Professionally, Rauf has succeeded in weaponizing knowledge by thorough and rigorous research to fight illiteracy.
He used his intellectual ability to address issues of inequality.
His wife, Kate, shared her husband's love for Nigeria.
For him, the unity of Nigeria was not a political slogan. It was a lived reality.
Emmanuel Umeayo, NTA News.
The president of China Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria, Yi Shinjin, has reiterated gains of bilateral relationship with Nigeria. Speaking in Abuja as part of activities to mark China's 46 years bilateral relations with Nigeria, said the gains will be consolidated in areas that include trade and industry, plus, of course, agriculture. Patricia Isamiluba was there for NTA News.
The 46th anniversary of the China-Nigeria bilateral relations therefore offered an opportunity to take stock, consolidate on successes and plan ahead. The chamber is collaborating with the FCDA to construct the longest bridge in the city and extend the inner southern express to link Galadima. On food security, which is another component of the initiative, an 89-hectare agricultural park as well as a training center is on the offing. The Deputy Managing Director, Professor Zhu Yangfeng, reveals that more than 150 species of rice from different parts of the world have been planted at the Abuja metro station. Project Manager Kontao says the 45-kilometer rail track will be completed by December and that the Phase 1 will test run by 5th of November. While outside Abuja, there was a trip to Zungeru hydropower plant in Niger State, which is one of the major projects of the Belt and Road Initiative, co-funded with Nigerian government to provide 700 megawatts to the national power grid. Adewumi Solomon, Deputy Chief Resident Engineer, expressed optimism that the project will be completed by 2020, regardless of the present challenges it's facing. The Dagachin Zungeru, Alhaji Tanko Madaki, while receiving the delegation, appealed to the government of Nigeria to give employment preference to indigents of Zungeru when the project is completed. In Abuja, Patricia A. Samiluba, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Now, to the main business of the day. As the price of essential drugs go high unabated, health watchers recommend special waivers on imported pharmaceuticals and raw materials, plus preferences to local manufacturers and effective regulatory system. If and when all these are successfully implemented, how will they impact production, distribution, and prices of drugs, especially life-saving drugs for some perennial illnesses? Stay with us on Weekend File for a closer look at the persistent causes of high price of drugs in Nigeria. Do keep it here until we return after the break.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail. It would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Hey, now who they here? My name now Mr. Shortcut. I didn't mind my money. Now cheap one I dey buy. Standard, we sign. Now to buy cheap one. Hey, now one kind cable for my yard. A cheap building material where we take build my office. I think say I dey save money. Office building collapse and fire burn my house.
You don't see what happened to Mr. Shortcut? Well, Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, don't ready for action and say enough of pain, loss and wastage. And if you see product where no dey correct, call the SON office where near you or SON help desk. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving life through standards.
River State Governor, His Excellency Nyesom Ezewoike CON GSSRS, on behalf of the government and people of River State, is happy to welcome the governors of the South, South and Southeast State to a crucial meeting of the governors holding on Sunday, 27th August 2017. Venue, Government House, Port Harcourt, River State. Time, 7 p.m. May the Almighty God bless you and grant you journey mercies as you come to River State. Signed, His Excellency Nyesom Ezewoike CON GSSRS, Governor of River State.
Bayes University Abuja offers world-class education, uninterrupted academic session, and promising degrees. Bayes University Abuja is affordable and delivers quality with experienced international staff, superb facilities, overseas external examiners, and a serene academic atmosphere. We offer quality and affordable education, and students are within easy reach of their parents here at Bayes University Abuja. So learn to live at Bayes University for a brighter future. For more information, visit our website at www.bayesuniversity.edu.ng or call 081 3376 9657 or 081 3376 9658. Bayes University Abuja. Learn to live.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC as an agency is indeed doing so much to protect the health of our nation. I urge everyone to support NAFDAC in ridding the country of fake drugs and unwholesome products.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Yeah, we thank you for staying with us up to this moment on Weekend File. Research findings reveal that the most effective way of ensuring that quality healthcare services are effectively delivered to majority of Nigerians is by allowing the public to have access to drugs at minimum cost. Of great concern is the rising cost of prescription drugs in the country, which health analysts say, if not addressed, could lead to continuous loss of lives to preventable diseases and manageable health conditions. Health correspondent Rabi Abdallah takes it up from here.
Even before the downslide of the Nigerian economy, medicines were said to be relatively expensive in Nigeria due to a costly supply chain and poor government oversight. For instance, the World Health Organization and the Federal Ministry of Health collaborated on cost surveys in 2010 and 2014, which revealed medicine prices in Nigeria to be several times higher than in many countries. Public health analysts say less than 30% of the medicines available in the country are manufactured locally, while more than 80% of the drugs used to treat and manage hypertension, diabetes, and other non-communicable diseases are imported, while also attributing the rising cost of prescription drugs to the circular on the import adjustment tax, where the Federal Ministry of Finance recently introduced 20% tax on imported medicament in the nation's pharmaceutical subsector.
It is so difficult for our patients to, get their medications as at when due. Okay, the doctor has seen and has prescribed medications. This person, when he or she gets to the pharmacy shop and gets the prices, will just carry your prescription, go and put under his or her pillow.
We are yet to see the aspects of the 60-40 with respect to the locally manufactured drugs.
The situation is such that people now go for herbal products, though said to be cheaper and available, also have their own issues, such as standardization, while dubious manufacturers are also said to be cashing in on the situation to flood the markets with substandard prescription drugs.
There's no gainsaying about it that we have herbs that help, to build up health.
What key players in the pharmaceutical subsector consider anomalies that also contribute to the situation in the country is the way the common external tariff has been implemented in violation of extant laws. In the words of health experts, medicine qualifies as a security item of man after food, which underscores the need for countries to prioritize drug sufficiency where affordability is not compromised. In Abuja, Rabi Abdallah, NTA News.
Yeah, thank you, Rabi, for setting the stage for tonight's conversation. Now, let's go to Benin. Herbal remedies practitioners in Edo, Ondo, and Delta states are having sweet and sour experiences trying to scale through the benchmark set by the regulatory agencies. Ogochukwu compiled situation report from that zone.
Investigation shows that Edo State is a hub for making and marketing of herbal medicine in South Nigeria. Gone were the days when herbal remedy business was an all-comer affair with little or no compliance with quality and quantity control by the regulatory agencies.
They are very good because SOP production, SOP quality control, SOP good manufacturing services, SOP hygiene.
Under the present administration, the narratives have changed in the states as stakeholders are challenged to comply with the new regime of registration, as only 20 products have been registered in Edo State out of the 800 registered in the country.
When it comes to the production for formulation and other things that has our standards, then we regulate.
In Akure, Ondo State, Olubukola Aduwo reports that quality control of herbal medicine and good practices are indispensable for the advancement of the herbal remedies, and for medication of herbs to be adjudged safe for consumption, there is need for proper registration through the pharmacovigilance process. However, herbal practitioners say the process of registering their products is not easy.
NAFDAC wastes a lot of time. At times we are going to spend like 2, 3, 4 months before we can get the NAFDAC registration.
Now you cannot go directly to the NAFDAC. There's a middleman between you and NAFDAC.
We still go on a enlightenment campaign, try to make them come near, but if they refuse, then we'll not enforce.
If you are too sure of what you are, come out. Go to the regulatory body.
In Asaba, Onye Joshua Ifanyi reports that financial incapacitation and lack of education are some factors militating against the compliance.
The complaint is that they don't understand most of our requirements. Some don't have the finances to do some of the analysis like the toxicity test.
Observers say sharing national experience is an information as well as monitoring and mentoring are crucial to evaluating compliance with registration of herbal products to meet standard operation practice. In Benin, Ogochukwu Ona, NTA News.
All right, the devastation on health infrastructure and livelihood in Borno State due to a security challenge drew international and national attention, as a result of which huge resources were channeled to mitigate the effects. Naomi Abuaku takes a look at drug supply in the face of insurgency.
The health sector in Borno State is one area that has received tremendous support from federal government and international communities in terms of provision of drugs to meet the health needs of the people.
Both secondary and primary healthcare facilities are getting essential drugs free of charge. And we take these drugs directly to the health facilities. In all the camps, some camps have up to 3 clinics, some have 2, and a minimum of 1.
Borno State government, on its part, recently procured medical equipment worth over 1 billion naira to reposition the health sector.
The general public are lucky because there is a lot of focused attention. Publicity about a year ago, malnutrition. With the help of partners, the state government and the federal government, the intervention has been so successful that the recent survey that was conducted discovered that the severe malnutrition rates have drastically reduced.
The Nigerian military, apart from its primary role of fighting terrorism in the northeast, has been providing healthcare services in all the IDPs camps, where an emergency hospital was established by the Nigerian Air Force in Daluri camp. Most cases attended to at the emergency hospital, according to the force medical personnel, are eye problems, antenatal care, malaria, diarrhea, hypertension and diabetes, among other ailments, and drugs are given free of charge.
Akwai isasshen magani ne daidai komai gurgudan karfi ana bamu alhamdulillah na mun gode ne.
Gade ka dara yi kana
From all indications, availability of drugs is no longer a problem in Borno. The challenge is ensuring that it reaches those in need, especially in remote locations. For Weekend File in Maiduguri, I am Naomi Aboku.
Thank you, Naomi Aboku from Maiduguri. Now, Joy Ken Ababoya from Lagos takes a look at the impact of World Health Organization standard for qualified laboratories on drugs and, of course, prices.
The World Health Organization's pre-qualification of laboratories program was set up by the United Nations to facilitate access to essential medicines that meet international standards of quality, safety, and efficacy. This program primarily covers antiretroviral drugs, vaccines, medicines for malaria and tuberculosis, and most recently, it was extended to medicines used in reproductive health. So far, 4 Nigerian drug manufacturing companies have been pre-qualified by the WHO. One of them is currently working on certification for zinc sulfate, a drug it has produced.
It boosts the economy of the country because zinc sulfate is a drug that is used worldwide.
The pre-qualification of these laboratories, the Acting Director General of NAFDAC, Yetunde Oni, says, is a major achievement as it has translated to getting vital medicines to a large number of people with no compromise on quality.
For us to have the WHO pre-Q lab means that we would be able to analyze those products.
However, this program, experts say, is yet to impact on the price of drugs due to other manufacturing challenges.
Today, about 4 or 5 of our manufacturers have WHO compliant status. It transcends to very little in real terms.
To improve access to prescription drugs and make treatment more affordable, experts say medical manufacturing companies must up their games. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abapoya, NTN News.
And that's all about the reports that have set the stage for tonight's conversation. And we have an expert on the issue of high cost of prescription drugs, impact, and way forward. Don't go away.
When the kings of African comedy gather under one roof,
there is only one outcome. Can we bring down the roof?
Come witness the craziest
and the funniest, the oh my God, and the baddest of them all.
Laughter will scatter your brain well.
Come watch the biggest names in African comedy at Glow Laughter Fest. Basketmouth, Bovi, I Go Die, Sheyi Law, Gordons, Salvador, Osama, Bash, Kenny Black, and many more.
You will never have a bigger gathering of jaw-dropping, whip-cracking comedians under one roof. One microphone, one network.
All over Nigeria. Yeah, I'm going to be there.
I am going to be there. I'm going to be there.
Live and direct.
For the time of your life.
Will you? To win a free ticket, use 2,000 Naira in a month and text LOL and your preferred location to 240.
Oh, Laughter Fest. Laugh go kill you, die.
True.
Glow Unlimited.
Best concert of your life? Don't just stay cool, stay refreshed with an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Pick your lane, solo or bigger boy.
Taste the feeling.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTAE offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament.
So many things have been wrong in sports. We've been talking around it.
We need performance expertise, and you can only get some of this where you have world-class facilities.
How can sports deliver return of investment to attract the kind of money required to take it to the next level?
We cannot interfere in the internal affairs of even the federations that belongs to us.
Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA, Thursdays at 11 p.m. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
The eyes have it. Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
And now we have in the studio Ajia Zainab Ujudud Sharif, Deputy Director, Planning, Monitoring, Evaluation and Special Duties, Department of Foods and Drugs, Federal Ministry of Health. Madam, you're welcome to Weekend File.
I'm happy to be here.
All right. And the high cost of drugs in Nigeria, according to health watchers, is assuming a frightening dimension, and that if nothing is done very urgently, the essential drugs will be out of reach of the ordinary Nigerian, especially drugs that are, of course, that are life-saving and should be taken on a daily basis. Speak to that.
Yes. You know, the issue of drugs is just like any other issue. We talk of the issue of the economic recession generally, which is picking up, and the issue of foreign exchange, which causes scarcity. But now you can see there is progress, and that means that it will also affect drug. And the issue of pricing policy is also affecting drugs. If there are standards for pricing policy, it will go a long way in making drugs affordable. But what you need to understand is that with the issue of drugs, all raw materials, when you talk of drugs, you talk of the raw materials, you talk of the finished products, you talk of vaccines, you talk of other chemicals. But what is important is that for all drugs, the raw materials are imported. So that means scarcity of foreign exchange. That is what calls for special intervention in the areas of drug production. What do we need to do? And I am glad to tell you that the Federal Ministry of Health, all hope is not lost. Some positive steps have been taken. And what you need to know is that, for example, in the issue of import duty, before there was import duty on finished products and also raw materials. So our indigenous companies, we have over 120 indigenous companies. When I mean indigenous company, I mean those solely owned by Nigerians. And then there are the one I call domesticated companies, those that are of international but are non-domesticated in our country. So the indigenous company tend to have a challenge. You know the challenge of infrastructures, which is something we know, and then the challenge of the raw materials. So the positive steps that have been taken so far now is that the import duty on some specialized pharmaceuticals have now been made to 20%. And the
20% is said to be on the high side.
Yes.
Because as we speak, Nigeria has the highest cost of drugs.
Let me tell you, there are issues of what we call generics. Generics and brand. When you say generic drugs fall into the category of essential drugs, essential medicine. That means you must make the drug affordable, available, and accessible. This is the document that Nigerian has for essential medicine list. In this drug, we talk of generics, and this document is supposed to be used by all federal health institutions, public institutions, to make drugs affordable. Have you forgotten that there is 17 prohibition list of drugs? That is to be able to allow our local manufacturers to have the capacity to produce those 17.
So, madam, let me cut in here.
Yes.
You know, the essential medicines list that you are showing Nigerians now.
Yes.
How would the practice of what is in here bring down the cost of drugs? Because we are talking about prescription drugs. We are talking about off-the-counter drugs.
Yes.
You know that people cannot afford to buy.
Like I told you, the most important thing is when you talk of generics. Generics means that the drugs are going to be easily affordable, accessible, and available. And then if you practice what is here to make it affordable, to make it, the local manufacturing companies are now using this system to be able to produce their drugs, provided with the ones that they have the capacity to produce.
Do exactly.
Yes,
now,
and then the ones they don't have the capacity. What do we do?
Now, let me come in here.
Yeah.
You're talking about raw materials.
Yes.
The imposition of raw materials.
Yes.
But we had a guest on the, this is the second stanza, if you like, of this particular edition.
Yes.
Right. And he's in the medical field.
And the research.
And he talked about us not really being serious about research and development.
I was going
technology. And madam, let me just ask this question before we go to that. He said that virtually all raw materials required, apart from certain selected, can be sourced in this country.
That is why we are talking about the issue of research. How you must support research institute. But I need to tell you that raw materials for drugs are various categories. The synthetic ones, where we need what we need active pharmaceutical industries. And for us to have that, we need petrochemical industry to be able to analyze this raw material. But however, the solution that Almighty God has given us is the area of medicinal plants. Those are raw materials that are accessible and affordable. So if you are able to access a plant material that has the tendency to give you a unique drug, there calls for the research. And the research by the NIPRID Institute can help us to support. That is the case of Niprisan. Today we are talking of Niprisan. Niprisan is a herbal drug. We have 8,000 species of medicinal plants. Kieran, I have talked so much about medicinal plants. It is time we look at it as a solution. But I also want to tell you that there is the issue of distribution. How do you distribute these drugs? It is not enough to bring these drugs. There is the storage capacity. As I'm telling you now, the Federal Ministry of Health has a storage warehouse system in Oshodi, which is big. But the recent one, 2 weeks ago, it was able to, we have launched a state-of-the-art warehouse in Jabi along Airport Road. Okay. This is the first of its kind in Africa. And this is to meet the needs of the northern part of the country. That means it is easy to transport drugs and distribute them to the facility where they are needed.
All right, Ajia, you've been in this business for a while.
Yes.
Especially when you talk about
medicinal plants. I have so much passion.
Let's now talk about the synergy.
Yes.
Between the orthodox medicine practitioners and, of course, the traditional ones. Because I don't know where you belong. Maybe you belong.
I'm a bridge builder, Kieran, and God anointed me to do that. That is why when I talk, I happen to have the knowledge of both. So they need to be a balance of equally brought. God must have chosen us for us to be able to say what is good in this is it, and what you can bring is it. If we are able to harness our medicinal plants, just like the Chinese did, just like the Indians did, they were able to generate their plants and discover that they have raw materials. If we're able to support research in medicinal plants, which we have a priority over, there will be a lot of drugs. There is a plant called Momodica caranta. That drug is well known in the management of diabetes. Do you know what it is? When I went to study in China, I was given this drug, Momodica caranta. Do I have this plant? Sirin, this is a plant that is mostly available in Plateau. It's called, very important, they use it in eating their porridge. It's one of those plants that we can do. We have them. So if we're able to harness that plant, support with the research in NIPRID, they will go a long way.
Okay, before you go further, what can be done? Because when because you have hosted you on this program on
many times.
Talking about these medicinal plants, and which is now germane. When it comes to the manufacturing of drugs, look at now, the prices are high.
Yes.
We cannot help it, and we have what we can use locally here to make. So what can be done?
What can be done is that let us look at the present government. They have put structure in place. The issue of the Executive Order 1 and Executive Order 3, local business, buy your own and then make it easy for doing business. So that means the interested investors will come to see how they can be synergy. And then the issue of Procurement Act. Procurement Act stipulates that we must buy 40% of our drugs from our local manufacturers.
Okay, before we go further, because time is on our side right now.
Yes.
Tell us about the CET, which is a common external tariff that Nigeria signed. How is it playing out? We don't seem to be enjoying that.
We at least, the positive steps have been taken. I told you, when you look at that, the issue of the prohibition list is still on. 17 items. These are deliberately left to the local manufacturers to use their capacity to produce those 7 drugs. And those 17 drugs are essential medicines. So that is a good one for us. And they are in the essential list. And then you look at the finished products. There's a deliberate attempt to encourage a local manufacturer by making it down 20% for some pharmaceuticals so that the local manufacturers can be able to produce. But also, the other aspect of the raw material is what we are currently looking at. And I want to tell you that even the issue of the standard treatment guidelines, for us to use them in all the federal institutions and public so that you can adhere strictly. You know, some people like to, some prescribers like to prescribe brand drugs. There is a product, if I prescribe Coartem for you, for example, an anti-malaria drug that is imported is 1,800. But the locally sourced one is about 800 naira. So you can see. And then the issue of national health insurance,
the efficacy of the local
they are all the same. International standards is one and unique for production of medicines. Okay. The issue of the brand is to allow the patency to benefit us.
Okay. Yes. All right. Okay. The issue of waivers for the importers of pharmaceutical products and raw materials at the same time, and of course giving preferences to the local manufacturers. Do you think it will go a long way in assisting the situation or helping the situation?
The most important step that we are trying to look at now is how do you give special intervention to the pharmaceutical companies? It is time. You must know that medicines are security items. So if there is a special intervention, just like in the agri sector, you must have food, then you must have medicine. So it is time for us to look at the pharmaceutical company, especially the local manufacturers, give them what we call a special pharmaceutical intervention, whereby even the issue of interest rate can be single digital and the issues of equipment can be zero import order. That will boost our people. And patronage is very important. I'm glad you have shown us there what in Maiduguri, the Maiduguri guy told you that they have drugs. The issue is availability because of the desperate attempt by the Federal Ministry of Health to buy those intervention of medicines for the Northeast in worth billions. They were all locally procured from local manufacturers, giving them long expiry dates.
The final question for Tunaska discussion. You know, Orthodox medical practitioners have complained that the traditional practitioners, do not, abide by the rules in terms of how do you quantify what one has to take, or how do you, when it comes to prescription, that dosages and
Kieran,
all of that.
This story is everything the same thing. Practitioners, are we not moving forward?
Now, how do they come together? Because
they are different. I have told you even in the Tuesday Live that the issue of discovery of medicines is not the same procedure with herbal medicine. Herbal medicine has its own different procedure. A combination of one or single more herbal products, the roots, the barks, produces the herbal medicine. What is important is there are combinations there which is believed have a but the issue of drugs, they are chemicals which are poisonous and they need to be, of course, dosed because of the processes.
Okay.
But we are looking at synergy. We have the traditional medicine policy. Kieran, can you close your eyes and open it? What happens if today the borders are closed? Will you take the agbo? Or will you wait?
All right.
That is my answer.
At this point,
so we need to support research so that we can have more drugs.
At this point, we have to conclude this conversation because Ajay is ready for the next 1 hour to take me on.
Thank you.
All right. I have been speaking with the very, very vibrant Ajay Zainab Ujudut Sharif, Deputy Director, Planning, Monitoring, Evaluation, and Special Duties there, Department of Foods and Drugs, Federal Ministry of Health. Thank you once again for coming on Weekend Filed. All right, the program continues with sports and more.
Thank you.
Chief. Good morning, sir. You are here already?
No. Now my spirit there, my body there for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jam questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, too?
Better.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The program is a very laudable achievement on the part of the federal government and state government. Since the commencement of the program, the children are really doing fine. The vendors are wonderful. In fact, they are doing a good job. They usually come to school on time. They serve the children, they serve the puppies. The program has really helped the children because there are some puppies, they don't have access to balanced diet. With the commencement of this program, many lives have been touched. They have easy access to balanced diet. It has really helped the children a lot.
Now, Nigeria has qualified for the final of FIBA African Women Basketball Championships. The Tigers beat host Mali by 48-47 to reach the final. For more on sports update, let's join Kene Imabodike.